Howdy. Wind is picking up. Fish.org 2 hours ago. Artificial hail for more accurate weather forecasts. I haven't read the whole article yet, but we will make it. When the low pressure system Dub Bernd decided to park itself over part of Central Europe in the summer of 2021. The hazards associated with excessive rainfall events were made dramatically apparent in the form of the resultant catastrophic flooding. Weather records show that extreme natural occurrences such as drought, but also heavy rainfall and hailstorms are likely to occur even more frequently in this part of the world as a result of climate change. And their consequences could become even more devastating. Hailstorms, for example, can cause damage to crops, vehicles, and buildings, and they can be dangerous for exposed humans and animals too. It is thus all the more important that weather models are capable of more accurately predicting the possibility and extent of any such precipitation. For this, the numerical weather models must be based on precisely formulated mathematical interpretations of the physical process in clouds. For this, the numerical weather models must be based on precisely formulated mathematical interpretations of the physical processes in clouds. Here, check it out. Really nice commercial. Get new teeth, $120. Yeah, I'm not the youngest one anymore. But anyway, the vertical wind tunnel at Johannes Gutenberg University Mainz, which is the only one of its kind in the world, is providing essential information on this connection through new experiments that are being conducted using artificial hailstones made by a 3D printer. What? Okay. One thing we have learned so far is that is the form of hailstones that determines their velocity prior to impact. Explained Dr. Miklos Sakali of the Institute of Atmospheric Physics, IPA, at JGU. Sakali's Sakal's team has been able to demonstrate that lobed hailstones develop less kinetic energy and thus less destructive potential than hail with smooth surface. Their study is published in the Journal of the Atmospheric Sciences. Really? Hail and graupel, which is a term used to describe precipitated small, soft, icy pellets, are formed when water droplets freeze within storm clouds. The freezing process is promoted by turbulences and complex physical processes in these clouds that can extend to very high altitudes. These ice particles melt if they pass through warmer air layers on the way down. The result is large, cold raindrops, and these are often the culprits behind extreme rainfall precipitation. Precipitation. Sorry for butchering this word over and over again. Assuming that the ice particles do not have time to melt completely before reaching the ground, they arrive in form of hail or graupel. Water being released from a melting hailstone suspended in the air current of the wind tunnel. All right. Experiments with natural and artificial hailstones. The conditions in the interior of clouds determine the correct form, size, and mass of the frozen droplets. In our experiments with natural hailstones, we have seen that they melt to form raindrops that can be several millimeters in diameter. Large hailstones can also burst during the melting process, forming numerous small water droplets. From the recorded measurements, his team was able to extrapolate parameters that they could use as the main elements for the numerical simulations of clouds and precipitation in computer models. The research team in Mainz produced hailstones and gravel particles from frozen water in the lab, employing realistic temperature and humidity conditions. The researchers looked closely at how these fell or melted in the vertical wind tunnel. In addition, they used a 3D printer to create artificial hail and gravel pellets modeled in their natural counterparts. Even the material density corresponded to with that of ice. They used these to measure the free fall properties of the descending objects, factors that are particularly relevant to the microphysical processes in extreme precipitation events. Oh man. The experimental section of the wind tunnel. Yeah, that's quite something. The hail and gravel pellets were suspended freely in an artificially produced vertical airstream in the 6-meter high wind tunnel. Their behavior was recorded using high-speed and infrared cameras and specially developed holographic imaging system. If we apply the insights into microphysical aspects of precipitation we have obtained through these experiments to models used for the analysis of storm clouds, we can better anticipate what they will do, explained Professor Stefan Bormann of the IPA and director at the Max Planck Institute for Chemistry. This becomes particularly significant in view of the probable increase in extreme weather events, such as drought and torrential rainfall, that will occur even in our part of the world, due to climate change, emphasized Bormann. The experiments in Mainz were undertaken under the aegis of the Hydro-Comet project sponsored by the German Research Foundation. The results have been published in 5 peer-reviewed journals and as a book contribution. Whoa. The experiments reviewing the Hydro-Comet findings provided very positive assessments of lab experiments performed in Mainz and the associated publications. They particularly stressed the important role played by the available infrastructure, i.e. the vertical wind tunnel. Yeah, maybe Andrew Hall should know about this wind tunnel. Yeah. Really? Are they... What? So now, this looks like a moonfish. And a rimmed ice particle, in this case a gravel pellet created for experimental use in the Mainz vertical wind tunnel. Yeah, I really don't know. Probably you have heard about the story from the people back in the days when they tried to catch the moon. They had this barrel. They filled it up with water and waited until the sun went down and then the moon rose. And then when they saw the moon, the reflection of the moon in the water of the barrel, they closed it. Next day, they opened it because they thought they catch the moon. But they were really surprised that there wasn't any moon in the barrel. And sometimes reading these kind of articles, Artificial hail for more accurate weather forecasts. Max Planck Society. You know, I have been watching clouds, I have been reading about weather and all kinds of stuff all my life. And since I discovered the electric universe and many related things to that, so many things what I have been like knowledge what I have been taken for granted because readings, scientific magazines and stuff, and Einstein and string theory and all kinds of things. And by just discovering Thornhill, Talbot, Velikovsky, Hall, Davidson, and what have you, Birkeland, Alfvén. There are many other names. These kind of news that just seem so. They are so far off from target. If you think about like weather is driven entirely electrically, it is entirely just a reaction to what the sun does. Doesn't matter what we do here on the surface of Earth. It's just bad for us. Digging stuff out and messing things up. Pollution in the air and in the ground and in the water and in the food and in our clothes and everywhere. Just by messing up with nature. And if you think about weather driven entirely electrical, I just remember the picture from yesterday or something. Sea pinch, Birkeland currents, electric geology. And they make artificial hail in the laboratory. If precipitation is a discharge event, you might also think that the velocity or the intensity, the amount of energy which is going to be exchanged between heaven and earth might differ. That's why sometimes it's raining just a little bit. Sometimes it's raining really strong and like big drops and really fast. Sometimes it's just a little bit foggy. It's all the same. It's all about the filigree equilibrium of electrical circuits. And since there are many circuits, they're scalable, and the implications of this scalability is obviously really easily visible from space. Back in the days over Romania, there has been quite some weather because the marks are still there visible, petrified in the form of a mountain ridge. And if the energy is low, it's just a weather occurrence, formation of clouds, which lasts for a few hours and it's gone. But it's scalable. So probably wouldn't need a wind tunnel to recreate hail in order to get a deeper understanding of the weather. And after all, the weather is our only life insurance. Thanks. Bye.